you can hear it.
Yes. Yeah, I told him I didn't want it real loud like his, because that just hurts my ears.
Oh my gosh, this thing sits up. Holy cow, I feel like I'm in a semi. Hey guys, you're watching Off the Jackson. I am here with Teresa and David Alexander and this amazing car. So we're going to find out all about it. We're going to get some close-up views of it so you guys can see what it takes. Well, not see what it takes, but what you can do with a kind of a nothingness and turn it into a work of rolling art. So
oh yeah, it was nothing. Okay, yeah. So hi, I'm Dave. This is my wife, Teresa.
Hello.
I had a friend of mine say, hey, look, I got a bunch of cars on a lot. I want to give your wife one because she's really fond, or he's fond of her. He says, you know, let's hook her up. So we go out to this lot, and there's all these beautiful Oldsmobiles and all, in, you know, 35, 36s, 32s. And I'm looking at them, they're all nice looking cars, and she picks this one out between some, it was kind of like off the grid, it was out in the back between a shed, completely rusted out, no hood.
And gutted.
No interior whatsoever.
The hood was in the car.
Oh yeah, it would fit in there because there was no seats, no engine, no nothing. This was the one that they didn't know what to do with, so it went off into the corner because it was like a lost cause. And it was a rescue to my wife. So this is what she really, really wanted. As much as I kept pulling her away from it, this is what she wanted. So what we decided to do was leave the original car original because it was found in Nye County in a riverbed and it was flooded out every year. So the bottom half of the car is the life of the car. It's rusty, it's dented, it's beat up and rotten.
Because that's her story.
That's her story. And then from here up, which we haven't seen anybody do yet, we went brand new as much as we could from this section up to kind of show the decay and the life of this car. So
reverse barn find is
yeah, that's
what
a good
I call it.
way to put it. Yeah, a reverse barn find.
Yeah,
But
so,
yeah.
So like
But
a reverse barn find. That's
So
what
she
works.
says, okay, I want this, but I want four-wheel drive.
Well, no, that came later.
Yeah, well, because everything was shot. It was all destroyed in there. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. I'm not a car builder. I'm like, what am I going to do with this thing? It won't hardly roll. It's full of dirt.
Well, yeah, because it did have the axles and tires attached, but it wouldn't roll.
It was rotted completely.
Yeah, it was pretty difficult to roll.
Yeah.
So I come outside, he's got it up in the air with the forklift, and he's underneath it with the pressure washer, just blowing it out. And, the sand is never ending. So finally he came in and said, we can't use the undercarriage of the car. We just can't do it. I can't get it clean. It's not working. We can't do it. And I said, I don't know what that means. And he said, the things the tires are attached to, they're gone, they're shot. We're going to need all new ones. I'm like, where are we going to get new 1936 stuff, For a Cadillac, they only made, I don't know, like 2,500 of these cars. So I knew this was going to be a challenge. Then after he explained to me what it meant, I said, okay, now I get it. So if we have to do that, I want it four-wheel drive. Now I drive a Toyota Tundra. I said, put a Tundra under it. We'll just go find Tundra, whatever. So Tundra's too big. So we came out, both of us, with, measuring tapes. We measured every vehicle on the property to find what would fit. Nothing would fit because it's so narrow. So we had to reach out to friends and, what do you know that would fit? And 1996, was it a 96?
Yeah, Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Jeep Grand Cherokee, like a glove. So
yeah, just like a glove. It was a piece of cake. You guys know how easy that is to put a four-wheel drive under something like this. So that's what we did. We jacked it up, jerked all the guts out of it, and pulled the 4-wheel drive out of the Jeep Grand Cherokee and put it in there. And then you decided you wanted the
Went right
power
in there
steering.
like a
So
glove.
we did the power steering, and then
Well, 'cause
airbags.
the Jeep had all of that.
Yeah, and they didn't have airbags in a Jeep at that
No.
time, but we do now. We have airbags that'll go up and down 10 inches, 4-wheel drive with the power
Well,
steering.
he scared me about how the tires were not going to work.
They work fine.
And he's like, no, we
Yeah.
may have to cut the fenders. I said, you are not cutting the fenders. So we got to figure something else out because I don't want my fenders or, no, we're not cutting, chopping, we're not doing any of that. So what's another option?
So
It was either little baby tires, and I said, no, that's not going to work either, or air shocks. So air ride suspension was the lesser of the two evils.
Yeah, real easy on that too. It's simple to install. You guys know how easy that is. So
I thought
so
it
we
was.
just
I mean,
so we just
I went
cleaned
in
up
the house
the
and boom, it got done.
the
So-
top, the rust on the bumpers. We left the rust intact, buffed it up, and then clear coated everything, so it's soft all throughout. The rims, some of the older guys will recognize these. We popped out the rivets on the original rims and reversed them.
Yeah, so those are Cadillac rims.
Those are Cadillac rims, but the reverse. So the valve stem is actually on the other side, which is cool. And they are a deep dish, and that scooted them out just a little bit. And then, of course,
What
all the
else?
doors were hanging off of it. The windows were shot. The car was completely
Yeah.
thrown away.
The glass was
yeah.
melted. So it was like 2-ply glass, like the super thick glass, which was the original glass from the car. And whatever was in between the two pieces had melted down. So a lot of the lower half of all of the glass that was in the car was like crackled and discolored.
Yeah,
It was
trash.
weird
All the wood.
colors. I mean, it was crazy.
The inside of these are made out of wood, and then they're wrapped with the metal. So all the wood is rotted, so we had to repair. And I'm not a wood guy, so I just did it
Well,
with metal.
yeah,
I
we had
welded
to-
all the supports of the doors and the inside of the car, which was bad with
Yeah,
with
so we
metal.
did lose a lot of the original wood because it just was just gone. But the doors, the wood in the doors is like rock. I mean, this stuff is amazing. So he was able to, as he said, glue it and screw it until got it all put together.
Yeah, the good stuff I kept. The stuff
Yeah.
that was no good, I fabricated more stuff
We had
to
to
keep
get
the
rid
shape of the
of.
doors.
Yeah.
So then we put an LS. Do you want to see the LS one? Well, we can open the hood. All right.
Oh, yeah, we want to see that.
So we put an LS1 in it with the power steering or the automatic transmission with the transfer case that runs the 4-wheel drive. We got the original horn still in there from the Cadillac. It does say Cadillac on the valve covers, but it's not a Cadillac, it's an LS1.
Yeah.
And what else? Other than opening it up and, the bottom of the doors were completely rotted out. I didn't want to fix that decay in all the doors, so I just added this to kind of do something a little bit different. We had to rebuild the running boards and enhance the mess is what we did. We took it and just enhanced everything that was screwed up
Yeah.
and broken.
How did
Well-
you decide on this paint scheme? Because it is very different.
That's what we did it for. It
Yeah.
was very different because we didn't want to be like everybody else on anything that we do. We're kind of the oddballs.
Yeah, I
So we
wanted
want to
it
keep
different.
stuff different. So we just look at what they're doing out there and we go opposite of that because I don't like to copy what other guys are doing.
Well,
other than,
I kind of, we both kind of came up with the idea to keep her originality as far as her life story, which was being neglected. And, from what I understand, when she was originally parked, she was parked under a structure to protect her and keep her beautiful. Then, life happens and they forgot about the car. Natural rivers came, destroyed the bottom half of this, I guess, shed or, whatever cover they had over it. And there was a big rock wedged up in the front. You know, so she lived through that for 30 years. I think they said she was out there 30 years with that natural river just beating
washing
her.
everything out of it, so
And,
everything was gone.
Yeah.
So
and I'm like, we
let's,
need to keep that.
Open a door.
Keep that story.
Cheryl, do you want to come and look in the trunk? Because we have that thing that opens the doors. You want to see how that looks before I disassemble it? So the bottom of the car, it's got the original rubber around the gas tank, all around the bumpers.
And we kept everything we could
Yeah.
in place on the lower half
And then
of the car.
these are what we use. I mean, I've seen guys do really cool shit like coat hangers, open the doors and keep them open, which I thought maybe I could do a little better than that. So I made this weird looking weapon.
Well, it doubles as a weapon.
Yeah. So when we open the car,
Oh, hang on.
And those also keep big people from getting in your car.
yeah, it keeps
Yes.
people out. And then,
They're little, and then they just crawl under them.
geez, I know. And the parents let them.
And they risk getting smacked.
So these caress the door handles without damaging the interior.
The upholstery.
And then that'll keep people from getting in the car, and it shows off the car and it doesn't come apart. So we have two of those, one for both sides. So the inside was completely shot. So you see that the floor,
Well, there
we'll take
was
shots of
nothing
that
on the
later, the floor.
inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all hand done. Everything in this car is hand done, all casted. If I didn't have it, I made it.
Now, when you say hand done, I remember being out here and seeing you with pieces of your hummingbirds and your flowers. And,
Oh, they're on the,
and, right.
Yeah.
They're on
and
the
you
ceiling.
hand cut all of those and
hammered them out. Yeah, and hammered them. Those are actually, a lot of that stuff is all stovepipe because I do antique stoves. So I had a lot of pipe,
oh yeah.
right? So I took that old stovepipe, flattened it out and cut it out and hammered it and made hummingbird and sun and leaves and all kinds of, just stuff that
we
looks
used
cool. in
whatever
there.
we could find, that.
Yeah, I'm not going to go to the
something
store and buy
that's-
something. I'll make it before I go anywhere. But, of course, the upholstery seats and stuff like that, that had to get done.
Yeah.
But, we stretched the material over the door panels. These were actually off of stoves. There's a lot of parts here that are off of old antique stoves. The handles and different things that are
The hood ornament.
these little knobs that you twist and tighten up. That's beautiful stuff. So anyway, we went through quite a bit of detail on it. All the screws are brass. Everything accents something in the car.
Yeah.
All the knobs were still on the car, which was surprising. All the escutcheons were on the car. All that's all original hardware that opened and closed those windows. It's nice. She does have keyless entry. That's pretty cool.
We're hoping
The steering
to add
wheel, do you wanna go to the
keyless
other side?
start.
Are you want to go to the other
What I'm
side?
going to do is when you talk, then after we're all done, then I will get each of these pieces up
Yeah.
close so we can be in close. So,
Okay.
but with the interior, I can tell you this has got a lot of work. You've got the flooring, which is one of a kind that I saw you out here twisting yourself. And what was the idea behind how you were going to do the interior? Because that's just kind of like, wow.
We have a video when we first bought this, and I was being all cocky like I know what I'm talking about. And I opened up that trunk, and I looked inside, and it was completely bare.
It was
and
like a big tunnel.
It's just empty. And I said, that's the way
seal
we
over
like
it.
it. Clean, empty canvas. Like I know what I'm talking about, but it sounded good to me. And I explained that we were going to have a metal ceiling put in it. Well, not we built it and put it in there, but we would have a grapevine, hummingbirds, and different little critters on the ceiling elegantly, because for my wife, I wanted it nice and pretty and not, you don't need a tetanus shot if you get next to this car. And just everything about it was what I would want my wife to enjoy. And everything in here, I would bounce it off of her because I'm, you know, I don't know what I'm doing. I just start doing stuff, and if I don't know if I'm really on the right track, I go to my wife, and she tells me, do it this way or that way, and it kind of helps me. It guides me in the right direction.
There was a couple of things that, you know, were just a little bit, I guess maybe too masculine. That I'm like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, it needed to be softer.
Yeah, and so we found, actually we found one stick of the wide thick metal.
Yeah, the flooring here, this wider stuff.
And it's like hammered, and I fell in love with it. But they don't make it anymore. So I'm like, I'm gonna find it. So I found it from the manufacturer in Texas, and I bought every stick he had left and had it shipped to the house.
But I was gonna do the whole floor in that because it's kind of like a leopard alligator type thing. But we didn't have enough. They were limited on the amount. So we needed a filler. Yes. And I'm thinking, what can I put between those 1.5 inch pieces and gain 1.25 inches? I needed to gain that distance.
To spread the material because it's not made anymore. So
what am I going to use as a filler? So I decided 1/4 inch hex rod through all thread, which was too masculine because I have that on my car. So I started playing around with the hex rod and twisting it and heating it, and the colors were coming out nice.
At first we were going to hammer it, you know, and just kind of give it that rough hammered,
all kinds of
to kind of match, you know, what was in there, and I think that would have just been.
All I know is I came in with a couple pieces of metal, and I said, "What about this?" And she was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah,
like, that's it.
So he started twisting it and hitting it with heat to bring the colors, the purples and blues, and you know, just all the beautiful colors. And I was like, "Oh my God, that's it."
We were out here one other time, and David was out there, and he had metal, and he was showing us how he was twisting them, and I was like, "You're gonna do what? How many of those?"
Yep.
Yeah.
A bunch.
Yeah. It takes 2.5 hours per piece, and I never bothered counting it because I don't want to see any more 1/4 hex rod as long as I live. But there's a lot of it in there. We made all the rivets to hold the floor down.
Yeah, because then after he got it twisted and had it, you know, where he liked it, then he had to put it on the floor and hammer it straight again.
On a piece of flat concrete somewhere that was flat, and I did the concrete. There's not too many areas in here
because it would, flat. You know, I mean, it would naturally.
But I had to get it to roll it to get it to where it was,
and you know, and up and down, and you know, and that wasn't going to work. So hammered it straight again, you know, and then
that's the old-fashioned way. You know, you guys could get a machine to do this real quick, but I'm not into machines. I like to do it the old-fashioned way. The old-fashioned way takes quite a bit more time. I mean, you guys I know are laughing at me going, well, shit, they got a machine that does this.
Yeah, who's got the machine?
Well, they're all over the place,
machine,
but we're not going to buy it. I'm not going to, no.
Yeah.
Me, 4-inch grinder and a blowtorch, and that's how we did the car. That's it. It's all hand done. And I pride myself on that old school, done by hand, without any programming to a machine. So we're not going to do that around here.
Yeah.
No, I'd rather spend hours and hours. It's more rewarding.
And now I know you have wood along the inside there. Is that something you had to also hand make and then kind of weather it to look older?
The metal wouldn't reach. It was 3 inches shy of, after I insulated the ceiling, then we put that metal piece up in there. We were 3 or so inches shy of hitting our mark. So we had the idea of, because we have horses, of using kind of a decayed, sandblasted, you know, to speed things along.
You know, like when horses eat, you know, chew the wood, you know.
Right.
I thought of something like that. Now, we don't have our horses anymore, but they were not big chewers like that, so I didn't really have a lot of wood that I could use. So, and then I'm like, well, you know, we could make it, you know, sit there and chip at it and hit it with a chain, you know, whatever. There's all these different ways you could do that. But then David came up with the one piece, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, we just kind of, you know, just shaped it a little bit.
Yeah, because it was
with a grinder, and then
elegant.
sandblasted it. Brought that that grain out, and then we put lights behind it. So when you hit the button, up
Yeah.
inside behind all that, it lights up. So whatever she decides the color she
And it just, you know, as we bounced ideas around, and then he would come out and look for stuff here in the yard, and he'd be like,
Yeah.
well, maybe that'll, you know, and he would do something and bring it in. He's like, what do you think about this? And I'd be like, oh my God, I love it. Or no, throw it in the wood pile for burn, you know. So we went through a few different things, but, you know, but a lot of times we had to kind of change midstream because something didn't fit right. Or once we got started, I was like, yeah, I
It was
don't
a
know.
blast. 2 years of
think I
just
like
total
that.
heaven is what it was.
But
Yeah, I mean, you guys, you can imagine. So we put the air conditioner in, which I don't know why anybody would want an air conditioner in a older car because the dash is only this big, and you know,
he
so
offered
we had
up
to.
the air conditioner. I didn't demand
Yeah.
it.
We
He
are
offered
in
it
Las
up.
Vegas, David.
Yeah, I know, and I don't have air conditioner in my Rat.
I understand.
I'll be just
but
fine.
That's your rat. And
'Cause,
we don't care
I
about
think
that.
I'm a little bit lazy. So I built we put the air conditioner in there and the heater and all the components and computer for the LS, which is
Massive.
Yeah, I'd rather not
It's-
have the computer stuff because it's a suitcase full of computer stuff under the dash. So I built leather panels underneath as toe kicks, so when you get in, you can't see all that crap hanging down underneath the dash.
Well, we knew we were going to have to put something, and originally
Not everybody
I
puts something.
had thought
You can
about
see it.
just doing like a you know, because it is 1936, and you know, taking a piece of nice leather and just making like a drape, you know, like something elegant that would just kind of, you know, go from the top and just kind of drape down just to cover all, you know, because it's a mess under there with all.
Do you know who your husband is? Have you ever met him? I'm just picturing him going, that ain't happening, Teresa.
No.
Well, I mean,
so I made panels that could go in
yeah, but it
and
could have
remove.
been.
Yeah, I
It
get
could
that.
have
Yeah,
been
you
done.
just
It could have
pushed
been
me
done.
in the right idea, and I went with it.
But he was like, no, I'm going to make these panels. So
Yeah, then it's
make the panels.
Now, not only does this have air conditioning, it has heating, a heater.
Yes.
It also has, I'm going to tell you, out of all the rat rods I've ever seen in my life, the seats in this one look far, far more comfortable on your bum
Oh,
than
yeah.
any I've seen. So I take it you decided I'm going to ride, I'm going to look good, and my butt's going to be happy as I do it.
That's
Well,
right.
yeah, you
And
know,
there's plenty of
'cause-
leg room, and they are comfortable, and that's the girl part.
Yeah.
She
well,
wants the comfort. I don't really care in my stuff,
Yeah,
but
well, I
I
do.
get
I
it.
mean, when you're
No.
all busted up, you got a bad back, bad neck, ankles, you know, everything is starting to disintegrate with age. I don't want to be bouncing around in a metal box. You know, I need to be.
and you're not. This is built for you, and
Yeah.
and that one
So-
is not. So it's
You know, and I've looked at thousands of pictures trying to look at what Cadillacs look like back in the 30s, you know, the 36. Well, they didn't make very many of this. This is the touring sedan. So it's the same body. It's the same as the limousine. And the only difference was the way the seating was. So the front seat was like a love seat, but they're shaped odd, you know. But the front seat was a bench that was shaped in the size of the car, the floorboard. And then you either had the jump seats attached to it, which gave you the limo, or you didn't, and then you have the touring sedan. So that was the only difference of the research I was able to find, is it's that jump seat that made the difference. And of course, you know, a few other luxury type items in the limo, but it's the exact same body. So I thought, well, if we put, you know, I would have to have something custom made to fit, you know, to,
well, we
to
had
go
to go
in there.
bucket because I need the console
And
to transfer
yeah,
the air.
and then
to the
that's
back seat.
when David's like, well,
Yeah.
we can't put a bench or like a love seat in there because I have to utilize the center. And I'm like, Okay, so now what?
And when I was building the console, I'm figuring like the Tundra, right? I'm figuring I could put a freaking air conditioner in that box to feed that back seat. When we got the seats in there, there's this much room because remember the car's real narrow. So a lot of things. Oh shit. So anyway, but incidentally, I wanted to tell them about this.
So yeah, so we had to redesign several
These,
times.
they didn't have padding in the Cadillacs back then. They just went straight up, I guess, material because this didn't have anything in here.
Well, it was
so
like
I put the
cardboard.
padding, nice padding on the panels here. And then I started putting the doorknobs, and none of them would fit with the escutcheon on there. So therefore, I had to redesign every knob in this car to make it look like they're still factory. So basically, I had to cut and redesign every handle so that they would still fit and not rub on the material.
Yeah,
that's
And
Jesus.
that purple in there sets it off. I will tell you that. Purple's one of my favorite colors. So
it is my
really sets it
absolute
off.
favorite color.
Kind of brings it to life. But I also want to know, have you measured what is it from the front seat to the back seat? Because I tell you what, we were at a get together and I figured you could put a stripper pole and get midget strippers in that back seat.
They would work. It's 4 feet.
I have never seen any car with that. Did it originally have another seat or was it just made that way? I'm not 100% sure because I've seen so many variations of the body style of the car.
They had the fold-up one that went up
well,
against
that's
the back.
the jump seat that would attach on the back of the front couch because the front bench seat in these things looked like a love seat. I mean, it looked like a piece of furniture that you would have in your house. And I thought, man, that is like so cool, but how am I gonna, we just couldn't make it work. And, but that was one of the things was exceptional leg room for comfort to ride in this thing because it's the touring sedan. It was built and designed for touring, cruising around, and
the first time I saw it, I thought, you could have a whole party back there.
Yeah.
You could have a bassinet if you got kids. You could have anything back there.
playpen,
The area from the back seat, to the front seat is more area than I have in my complete car.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought maybe they took something out or redid it.
No, that's just
No,
the way they were. They were made for comfort.
At least not to my knowledge.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I know the back seat was a bit plush, super plush. But I mean, I don't know. I was telling him we could put like a mini hot tub in there.
No kidding. I'm like, that's a party wagon.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
the girls.
It's
So when the guy hot rodders go out and they all, are riding down, we did the strip cruise. Let me tell you, they all bounce along. You could have like all of us girls just right in it. We got plenty of room. We could have the hot tub.
yeah. We could throw a bean bag in there, a big old bean bag. Yeah.
I've thought of all kinds of things that we really could do away with these guys. And I've ridden in some rat rods, trust me, I know. But, so comfort, not only the look, but the comfort.
The comfort.
And
And that was important because I wanted to, I knew I was going to love the car because I kind of had the, like the visions, because I wanted her big and beautiful and aggressive, but sexy and, just a force to not be reckoned with. But at the same time, you can knock her over with a feather, so, I wanted all that conglomeration, and that was a part of it. And I knew if I was going to fall in love with the car, which I did, and just enjoy driving it, I want to enjoy 100% driving it, not just the fact that I'm driving this, but I wanted to enjoy the ride because, you know, I wanted to enjoy his rat rod when he made it, but it is so uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's not built for comfort.
With my broken parts, you know, when you've got a really bad back and back injuries, you know, you got to be real careful. I didn't want to turn down invites to take the car because I
Didn't feel good.
I couldn't take enough medication to kill the pain to get there and back. You know, I didn't want to have to factor in, can I take 2 or 3 days off to recover from the drive?
Now when David is feeling a little bit his age from a day at work and there's a car cruise, he just says, Teresa, can I ride with you?
Oh, yeah. I don't want to drive it. She could, I'll sit right there just fine.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've seen you cruise in and you're riding and got no problem with that.
Yeah.
No. It's weird. It's like, I don't know if I had one of these in a past life because I can drive this thing like I've driven it forever. You know, it's we've got a little issue in the front. We're gonna, you know, look at some different options on that. I know the fact that my steering wheel is this big. I know that plays a little factor. I have a little bit more, sometimes a little bit more, I guess, play than what I like. But
the brand new steering box.
Yeah, I mean, everything,
it's all
you know,
new,
so I don't know if it is something with the way, just the sheer size of the steering wheel itself, or if there's something, because it is, I mean, it is the original 36, right?
The 36 steering wheel, but it goes right out, drops into a brand new steering box. It's been adjusted, and we all know there's an adjustment on there.
Yeah. So, you know, so I don't know.
We don't all know that, David. But
the guys that are watching are like, there's an adjustment,
now.
idiot. You know, I know.
Yeah.
I'm hearing it all.
But anyways, so it does have, you know, and who knows, you know, it might just be something I'm just going to have to live with. I don't know. But, you know, there's still, of course, you know, some different, I mean, I don't know that you ever work all of the bugs out of a car that you've built, you know.
Everybody I know that has a classic car, a rat rod, a low rider, whatever kind of car it is, it's a constant with one little thing or another when you start combining pieces and parts from so many
when you
things.
Build it in your driveway, that's what's going to
I mean, we know people that every weekend they're rebuilding something they blew up on their car, and we won't call his name.
Right.
But, you know,
I think he does it just to take it apart and see how it's doing. He loves it.
You're not going to be taking this apart.
No, I don't want to take anything apart. I work for a living. We run a masonry company.
Yeah.
This is a lot of extra work. No, we're fine. It's done.
Now, this
no more cars.
I know that is not, you took extra time with that.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was completely rotted. You know, that is the original steering wheel that was in the car. It was the banjo.
The 5-string banjo.
They
were broken. Well, I mean, you know, I don't know.
Well, yeah. So there were 5 of the little banjo rods, and probably 60% of them were just broken. And then some of the area, the guide, I guess, where they, you know, just broken. I don't know if they were broken from somebody, you know, getting aggressive with it or just rotted away. But we just couldn't make it work. So we had to figure out something else. But we wanted to try and stay with the banjo style, you know, so we did. The number 3 is my favorite number, so we went with 3 rods on it.
And David's laughing because he's remembering every little piece of this, aren't you?
We did it all one night. I ran through here and we found the rod. We found some other brass that we made a connector. I mean, we built the whole thing in one night in the garage over crap laying around in the shop, and then we polished it up. And
we're like, well, this will work. Dave's like, no, I got to cut it. I said, then cut it. You know, so we just But you know, and then the outside, well, and then the globe. I love world maps and globes and stuff like that. And I wanted a rich purple globe. Yeah, I couldn't find one. So after 3 days of searching, I went with the dark blue instead of the pink, because I didn't want the pink to kind of, interfere with my purple going on. So I ordered it, got it to the house. David went in, he kind of tried to measure it. He goes, I think it's going to work. Cut it in half. It dropped right in there like it was made to go in there. So that became my center. And then the outside was really gross because it was just, like, I don't know, it was sticky and it was just gross. So I'm like, okay, so what are we going to do? Because I don't want to replace the whole thing. And David had made this thing for his rat rod. What was that for? For
the heater.
Heater?
Yeah, it was heater hose, but it's stainless steel gas line is what it is.
Yeah, it's gas line.
And it's
then he
bendable, just like what you see on there.
The different colors of metal rings around it and polished it up. And I'm like, well, what is that? I want that. I said, do they make it bigger? Because we're going to need it bigger, because that's a little one. He's like, yeah, they make it bigger. So we went and got it.
So some of it was by accident.
And made it work. Yeah, a lot of it.
I had to cut the steering wheel after I built that. Then I had to cut the steering wheel, slide it on there, and it slid on there perfectly. And then re-weld the steering wheel.
And then
slide it back, cut it, and do it 3 times. So we got
Yeah, so the 3 connection points where the banjo connects were already, in trouble because we had to remove the original and try to put the new 3-string in there. But, and there was just no way to make that really work without causing more damage, trying to weld it or, something would have just caused more damage. So I just wrapped it in leather.
After we welded it. Because, it is a steering wheel. It was welded very well.
Well, yeah, but welded, but,
Yeah.
But to continue the gas pipe to try and cut a piece and open it up and try and, finagle it in there and then weld it would have just kind of destroyed where it was touching because it wasn't designed to do that. And I didn't want to take the risk. We had already spent, a lot of time putting that together. I'm like, we're not risking screwing it up. So just get out of the way, give me some leather. And
then I cut 400 pieces of copper that long and made a pair of pliers that would crimp it ever so perfectly without marring up the stainless.
You made a pair of pliers.
Well,
Yeah.
all right. I didn't make the pliers. I bought them at Harbor Freight that were already what I needed. And then I had
pliers.
to cut a groove into them, and a groove where it could actually
so you had
grab
to
the
make
copper.
the little hooky-doo
The hooky-doo.
The hooky-doo.
and squeeze it to collapse that copper perfect so I can solder it without marring up the stainless steel.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So
So
when they didn't have what you needed, you just made the tools too.
I'll make
Well,
screws
yeah.
before I'll go to Home Depot and buy them. I go there with people. I don't
Yeah.
like people, so I just make stuff and then I just stay here.
You and the dog.
I am not going to go get 2 screws. I'll make them and thread them and whatever I got to do. Yeah.
Now, this has an LS, so you're going to get good gas mileage. You don't have to worry about that, where I know a lot of the rat rods, and they are limited because of gas mileage. So you, however, even though it's a big car, I bet you it still does better than a lot.
It will. It's not tuned yet, but
Yeah.
it's getting better, but it's not tuned up, the
Yeah,
engine itself.
It's self-learning.
Yeah, it's learning with the computer. It's going to take a little while for that to get up to 100%. And it does have a cam. It's built, Randy over at Performance built the engine, so he hopped it up a little bit. So
Yeah. Well, I told him
Yeah.
it had to have power. If I need to get out of somebody's way or, whatever, it better have power.
it
When I hit
freaking
that
has power.
gas
It goes.
pedal, it better
man,
book.
it really, for 6,000 pounds of, and it is 6,300 or something.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, everything I did was metal. I'm a metal guy. So
Yeah, it's a very heavy car.
shit. Yeah, but it goes.
But but
Yeah.
you hit that gas, you better be prepared because
Yeah.
it's going to scoot. But I'm used to that. I'm used to that in the Tundra. I was used to that in my FJ, and and I don't want a putt-putt. If I wanted a putt-putt, I would have got one of the Oldsmobiles. You know, I wanted something.
I'm glad she didn't, because it's a one of a kind.
Yeah.
The Oldsmobile, I mean, was a beautiful gesture, but this is a one of a kind, and I'm really glad that she went with this.
It's not only one of a kind because of the body, but with all the
They're
work in
rare.
it, I guarantee there will never be one anything like it. And I know
No.
you guys are, David, you take your Rat Rod to shows sometimes, and now Teresa. I keep saying to these guys, when it comes to, you know, if they want something that looks rough, some of the guys have Rat Rods. But when it comes to something that is just all out, wow. Not only does it look big on the outside and kind of has that, that's kind of pretty, but it's kind of beastly.
Yep.
But then when you open those doors, you're wowed. So
Yeah.
I think that when it comes to showing, some of these guys are in for a little hurt.
Well, you know, I mean, let's face it, most of us are a little lazy. I mean, we don't want to do these things unless you're trying to impress somebody. Then, you know, earn your keep type of thing, you know, make her feel like she got sort of a good deal and all this. So that's my motivation to try to
Like
push it
that's
as
ever
hard
been
as I
an issue.
can to do something that's really, really wow, you know, and it takes time, but why not? I mean, it's either in front of the TV or in the shop. And so you might as well spend your time in the shop and try to do something creative.
And honestly, David, as long as I've known you, I don't think there's one thing in there you wouldn't do over to make sure that it was exactly right. for
No,
Teresa.
it's one.
No.
It's a one-time.
Yeah.
I haven't done. I already. You do it here first,
Yeah.
and then I can't get it done quick enough because I've already done it. So my hands can't work quick enough to get it done. So I don't do things twice in here. Nothing I had to redo in here.
No,
When it
there's.
comes
it's
to
all
her, you just,
once.
it's like, yeah, this is what she gets. She
Yeah.
deserves it.
Well, when she gives me the green light, that turns me on. I mean, I'm like, she freaking loves it. And now I just can't wait to get it done so I can show her after it's sealed and cleaned. And yeah, it's exciting.
Because there was a couple things that, you know, that I had to be like, nah.
What are you doing? She'd say. And I'd be
I'm
like,
like-
this son of a bugger, you know, and then she goes, why don't you just, you know, girl thing, why don't you just,
I said, well, why don't you do it
and I
this way
respond
with
to that.
this?
I don't
And
buck the system. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad you came out. I would have been 3 hours on that. And she just says, why don't you just do that? You know,
well,
it's
because
just
we
different
would
things.
talk about things, but you know, we would get totally different visions. You know, like he would get, you know, his man vision, and I get the feminine woman more.
And that's
type,
normal,
you know.
but I'm open to that. I want to try to calm myself and give her what she.
You know what's good for you.
I know I'm not stupid, you know.
So I think the worst the worst it ever got was I had to tell him, now I'm driving this car, not you. Okay, this is mine.
It's doing
This
this and it's doing this and it's doing. I got it. I know. I'll fix that.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know.
That's okay. No, I want you to I want her to enjoy driving this car and feel safe and yeah. So.
And I do. It is amazing
And
to drive.
And honestly, I swear, David, you wouldn't do it any other way. You would do it exactly like she said, even if you had to turn your head and roll your eyes a time or two. It was like, yes, honey, I'm going to do this.
It's
love it
hers.
and I want it right.
I want her to be happy with it, no matter what.
And
Yeah.
I don't remember any of those. Well, there probably
of course
was a
not.
couple times where he was like,
It wasn't. You weren't getting that knife in deep. You know, I sometimes when I build something really exciting, and she goes, you know, it kind of knocks me down a couple notches, and then I get on the right track again. But
You too.
I mean, I have feelings too. You know.
Yes, but look how amazing it is now. Look how happy she is. You
Oh, I
know?
love it.
Everything is a rhyme for a
Yeah.
reason. All the handles climbing in and out of it, which you can't see from there, but it's all twisted a certain way. Nothing's just random. Everything is a rhyme to a reason. It's all there for a reason.
Yeah.
Everything, because it's
Well,
just
we're
gotta
both
be.
OCD and perfectionists, and you know, and that can be a challenge. I mean, I've accepted it. It's how I am. Just, you know, it's like I embrace it. And he sometimes is like, oh, Jesus. I'm like, I'm sorry. When I walk in and see something and one's off this way and up that way, I can't deal.
She walks around and sees it. She just walks and looks. I'm like, what are you looking at? Because I know it's something. Are you going to leave that way? You know, something that's not like quite done. You know, and I'm like, girls notice stuff that guys would never ever notice.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Girls notice every little detail.
Oh my
And I think
God.
that when it comes to the rat rods, as more women get them, the lowrider women are really starting to come out.
Yeah.
And that's where I say, the lowrider girls I've talked to, their cars have so much detail, and they can tell you every little detail and why, and why they wanted it this color, or how that fits into the story of their car. And I think that
Yeah.
a lot of times, a lot of men, it kind of.
If it's
We don't
rolling, it's
know-
good. Let's
yeah,
go.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Whereas women are more
Yeah.
detail oriented, and
Yeah.
David got to
I've
really embrace
yes,
that.
I had to. Well, I love her, so I wanted to make her happy, and because she could be like, yeah, okay, and then I don't know what's going on back there, thinking that maybe satisfy me by saying, yeah, go ahead and do it that way. She stuck to her guns. I want
Well,
this.
yeah,
and this.
because I mean, I didn't want a redo. I wanted it done. I wanted it done right the first time. I wanted to drive it. So, you know, no, we're not dicking around with that. Do it this way and shave
already-
that
yeah.
off or whatever, you know,
But
or
think of
add
the
a bolt. I
memories
don't
you
care.
do as you
Just
grow old and you're sitting on the back porch. The memories you're gonna have of this, you can look back and
Yeah.
have,
be like, remember
And it is
fighting over
fun.
the floor in the
Well,
Cadillac?
the four-wheel drive. I mean, the power steering unit. Hey, we have power steering. It's a big, ugly thing sticking on the front of your car.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I'm like, we're not moving it. Can we put something on it? We're not going to put something on it. I was
said, we
really
have to-
fussy
we
about
have to
what
figure
we were
something
going to do
out.
with that. I just could she'll get over it. She'll get over it. Well, anyway,
No.
bottom line is we wound up getting a 34 cans, two 34 cans with Super 6 lens that were in the weather for a great many years, and they turned purple, which is her favorite color. So we took those oversized Super 6, I don't know, 1920 lens that
Yeah,
were
I don't remember
old,
what
and
year.
fit them into a 34
Hudson, yeah,
can.
Hudson Super
Hudson, yeah.
lenses.
And I had to cut them down with a
And-
diamond blade. 2 Xanaxes, diamond blade, lots of water with a diamond blade, cutting.
Well, so I told him that's it.
Yeah, if I
There's
broke it, that
2
would
of
be.
those.
I didn't have enough Xanax in me to stop me from going crazy. So I slowed myself down and cut
Can't
both of
replace
them
them. This
so
is it.
carefully, so that when we bolt them together, they don't break. And
Yes.
so anyway, so it worked out perfectly.
it worked out perfectly. Now it's an okay, but
No, it was a great idea because we got these 2 beautiful lights, and these cars back then had a lot of lights because they were 6-volt systems. They couldn't see the damn road.
Yeah. So you know,
So they
I
had extra lights out there.
researched like a
Yeah.
lot.
So it looks great. It looks
On these
wonderful
cars.
with them on. I'm glad she put them up there because I wasn't going to. But
He's like, there's nothing we can do. And I said, the hell? It's something.
she meant
has-
it. She really meant it. She wanted something to.
I'm like,
Anyway,
no.
so the lights made it perfect.
Yeah.
So.
So I started just looking at pictures from 1930s era cars and whatever, and we started noticing they all have these driving lights. Some of them are called driving lights, and some of them are huge. I mean, like what was that one we found? 12 inches or 14 inches?
We had
Like,
9 on there. Yeah.
these are ginormous, and I thought, yeah, let's do that. And he's like, you're not putting 14-inch lenses on that car. I'm like, I need to cover that god-awful thing sticking out, in the front. And so what better way? But then I found the purple, and the purple is what caught my attention. And I was like, oh my God, those lenses are purple. And eBay, yep, add to cart, ship them.
don't break them.
Don't break them. Well, they were already, the one already was broke, had a chip out of the corner. So I was
But it's
concerned.
hidden by the escussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Not as
I
concerned as
said,
I was because it already took a hit.
Yeah.
I was in
And I'm
there.
like, you know what? I don't care. They're purple. They're way cool. we'll just fabricate a can, you know, put a big dent in the can where the brake is. I don't care. You know, we'll just
Here, just
and put it on the
You do it. You do it.
just figure it out. You know, we just.
And of course, I'm like, hell yeah, I could do that. And then I'm like, how the frick am I going to do that? Yeah, but anyway, it got done.
It did. It got done, and it's amazing. I love it, and it just adds, you know.
Oh, and then the hood ornament is off of a wood stove. It's a, I don't know, guys probably don't know what wood stoves are back in the 1800s, but they had, every one of them had like a little trophy. It's called a finial, but they have a trophy on the top of every wood stove back in those days. And this happened to have a oven indicator, like a Model A over there. It has the temperature gauge, well, you know, with the mercury in it. So basically, I figured that's a hood ornament, because you can't really find these.
It's a heat indicator. It made sense.
Yeah. So I cut it all up and used the top and the bottom, put it all back together and welded it and made it mirror the front grill like it was made for it. And put lights in the front of it, halos, and she could see the gauge. It goes up to 600 degrees. So, well,
It'll indicate heat.
Oh.
So if
it will work, but it better not get up to 600 degrees.
Well,
yeah, if it reaches one of the temperature lines, it will register that temperature. But we don't have it like connected to the radiator or you know, anything like
it's
that.
not, yeah, it just goes off of heat. That's how it was on an oven. It would just go off the oven heat.
Yeah, so it's just external heat. It will, you know, it'll
I was going to say.
do it.
And so, before we finish, I have a question, because when I was out doing an interview with David about his car, and that's been 3 years ago, 3 years ago at least, you guys were starting. So now that this is done, when do you start your next project?
I'm back into wood stoves, and I have a real job. This doesn't pay any money. This is just costing a lot of money, and it doesn't. And no, I'm done with cars. Everybody got a car. Dave's got one in there. You guys haven't even seen that one. I have mine. She has hers. We're done. So now I'm back into. I got the website on the wood stoves. People calling wanting their stoves. I got to get them out of here.
Well, I was going to say, I just figured, you know, you've had this fine life experience that maybe you were ready to go at it again, or, you know.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
It would take a lot of money to stop at what we do to do this. This, you know, this is.
And if everybody's got one, I mean, you're good to go then.
Yeah.
So that was
Everybody, that was it. I
Pretty
wanted everybody to have a car, so we can all three go cruise if we want.
I mean, I thought it would be cool if we could, you know, retire from responsibility, you know, and set good that, you know, you never know years later, because a lot of it was a lot of fun and
it's a blast,
challenging,
yeah,
and
sure,
I think it kind of keeps your mind young when you challenge yourself with making things work. Because I mean,
if you had to do this for a living, it would be fun.
Yeah,
but after work at night in the middle of it's not as much fun.
Yeah,
while you're trying to keep the other stuff going.
It was stressful because we had so much more other life responsibilities, so it kind of took a little from both ends. Right. So there were some times where, I mean, we would call it a weekend and be like, you know what, we're not doing shit. We're not touching the car. We're not looking at the office. We're doing nothing. Let's go veg out and watch a movie. I don't even want to get dressed. You know, just because we had to just kind of disconnect. Right. You know, from all of it, because it would get overwhelming at times. I would sit there and be building the whole time. Yeah. I mean, I had a lady stop me at Home Depot. She thought I was having a stroke because I'm staring at the floor while I was walking. And she goes, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm working. I'm building shit. And I know already where I'm going to get what I need at Home Depot, but I'm on a roll here. I'm building something." And I'm spacey wakes up
looking.
From a nap, because we came out. I can't remember what. I think it had something to do with the console. The center console was really challenging, and I'm like, you know, who cares? No center console. You know, this is ridiculous to lose this much life over some, you know, come on. And
I want it my way, and then
So-
now she's
and
ready
then-
to give that up? I don't think so. Yeah, get out there and get it right.
Well, it was just becoming too stressful, like not worth it, that level, on top of daily life stress. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Right.
You know, I'm not gonna, you know. So then we went in and turned on a good movie, had some popcorn, we were sitting there, and then he fell asleep on the chair. And I'm trying to keep, you know, just keep everything quiet, let him get some rest, recharge his batteries. I was crocheting. And then he sat up, scared the living daylights out of me because he shot up out of the chair and he looked at me and I thought, what? Something bite you? You know, what happened? And I got it. And I'm like, got what? Bitten by a spider because you just shot up out of the chair? No, he was in there sleeping, building this stinking console. And he got up and out to the garage he went, and the next thing he's got the console.
And there, you had to quit thinking about it to.
I do.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're doing this
and-
kind of stuff, you build in your sleep. You build.
Yeah,
at the
but he's done
stoplight,
that to me a
whatever.
couple times where he shot up off the chair, or we'll be watching a video or something, and then I know he's not there. He's sitting there. He's physically there. He ain't there.
That's sad though, because when she's
and,
talking to me, I'm
you know,
trying
and
really hard
sometimes
to
I'll be
listen.
talking to him, and he's just sitting there, and every once in a while, and I'm
It's
like,
pathetic. I'm sorry.
was not the
But
answer.
that's not
You are
nice.
not listening to me
No,
at
I'm
all.
not, because I was building something.
Yeah.
But it's disrespectful. But I don't. But no disrespect. But that's, you know, when you get on a roll, it tastes good, feels good. You just keep going. And what she was telling me.
Yeah, so I
Didn't
just get
taste as
used
good.
to it, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever.
So we expect to see David's Rat Rod is of course not near as high, not near as fancy. So we will be watching for y'all rolling down Las Vegas Boulevard, because I personally know you guys do that. But
Well, we've done it once with both of them for the Christmas run.
and then you're heading over to Chloride. You'll be at RatCity Rukkus.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand it that David doesn't want to park by your car because he doesn't want to be, you know.
Paul says we have to park with him, so I figured he could have that thing, and I'll put this in the front lineup for Master Build or Best
I was gonna
Fabricate or
say,
something.
you know what? Don't park this over there on the side. You need this on the end so the sun shines on it so people can get good pictures. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you. We are going to be showing this so everybody can see all the detail and everything. And I'm sure there's lots of car people out there that are thinking, yeah, I've been through this. Maybe not to this extent, because I've seen some cars that are not to this extent.
Yeah.
But I know everybody will be looking for you, and they'll be watching their Instagrams and everywhere. And if any of you all see this and you take pictures, be sure to put them on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. Show it off.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's built for. Not only for Teresa to have a great ride, but for people to enjoy, and it's probably going to inspire some people.
It does inspire a lot of people. I'm inspired by a lot of people. I don't just pull this, everybody's out there doing this stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, there's
yeah,
inspiration
they're-
sometimes in places
Absolutely.
you never would have thought.
Oh, yeah.
But this, I think one of the most challenging things was the sheer size of this car,
Yeah, she
because she's a big girl, and yeah,
All right.
but
all right.
So we will see you all later. Be sure to subscribe and let us know what you think of this little tiny Cadillac.
itty bitty.
Okay.
I know, I think that's why David's always calling it a truck.
Yeah.
It's not a truck. Whoops. He's obviously getting into that, huh?
Well, I'm serious. It feels like it's huge.
It is. It is huge. And, and I had told everybody, I
looking. I'm like, you could put somebody back there and never know they were there. And the little lights are on, the flowers.
Didn't turn those on. But, yeah, I love this thing. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to drive.
How is it turning?
It turns pretty good. I've got a lot more turning radius to the right than I do to the left. So we saw, you know, it has stoppers on the bar, and David's like, yeah, I don't want to play around too much with that because, you know, we're not front end people, so we don't want to risk, you know, screwing something up. So we do want to get somebody that knows the front ends and how to make sure that the alignment and the radius is where it needs to be without screwing anything up. So it does make it difficult to park it sometimes. And but I need a lot of room to maneuver this thing around.
Yeah.
Because it is a big vehicle.
Oh yeah.
But
Well, you figure me sitting here, I got my feet out, my legs out straight, and they're a good 16 inches from the floorboard.
at least.
Yeah.
And
So
you've got an electric power seat, so I don't know if you can go back further or, you know, you can go back, you can bring it forward.
I mean, there's just so much freaking room in here. It's ginormous. And especially when it's rolling, it seems more ginormous.
Yes.
Because it's actually not a house then. It's it's your actual vehicle.
But I mean, it drives. It is so weird. That's why I told David. I said, I don't know if I had some kind of connection to the car, because when I picked it out, he thought I was nuts. And and he was kind of like, "Are you sure?" He goes, "Teresa, there's nothing inside of it but the hood parts." I said, "I know." And I said, "Yeah, I'm sure." I was like in love. I was like, I'm in love with it. I gotta have it. Sorry.
Yeah, like I said, when y'all first got it and I first saw it, I was a little skeptical of whether this was ever going to actually work.
Be roadworthy.
And I thought, okay, I know you might have good intentions, David, but that's never going to be an okay car.
Yeah, he definitely looked at me like I had two heads a couple of times. So first, when I picked the car out, he was like, "You got to be kidding me, right? That's of all these cars." I mean, there had to have been, I don't know, 75 cars just in that one area, and I could have chose any one of them. And then he had a second lot. He's like, "Well, let's go down and look at the second lot," and then I was like, "I want to know what that is." I didn't know what it was. All I knew is it was a big, beautiful car. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what it is, but we need to find out. And I'm pretty sure that is the one that I want. David was like, "Oh my God." So to turn it in from this direction,
was gonna say, I wondered about that.
Yeah. Now going to the right, I've got tons of turning radius. I have so much more radius to go to the right, and I mean, I don't understand it. And and David's like, well, I'm not gonna mess with it. So, you know, because, well, we just don't have the knowledge, and you know, and I would rather not, you know, screw something up.
Well, yeah.
And so, but yeah, it is a lot of car to drive.
Yeah, I'd say. Oh my gosh. Now I got video riding too. That way we can say, uh-huh. She moves. She really does.
She does. And, you know, and I have, I have gotten in it, and she's got a lot of power.
And there you go. That's what you were just riding in. And there's Teresa. See, even Teresa, you can't see her on the other side of the car because it's so big.